Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Night Sky Enterprises. I'm Shannon Thomas, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Azeron Cyro. Azeron is a relatively new kid on the block when it comes to PC peripherals. They have a number of very interesting and unique novel designs for their controllers, and the Cyro is no exception. This gadget attempts to mash up and combine a keyboard, mouse, and gamepad all into one device such that a person can use it to play PC games with one hand only. And I'm happy to report that it does succeed in that goal. You can use this one-handed. I've used it in first-person shooters, first-person RPGs, a mech sim, not a flight sim, a space sim, and a couple third-person sort of action adventure games. I assume with the mouse functionality, you could use it for RTS games or pretty much any other type of computer game imaginable, with a little bit of practice and some configuration. So it does work. I can report that with confidence. And today I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of some of the physical characteristics and how it's set up. So first off, I want to point out that this is not a wireless device. You do have to plug it in and connect it at all times to the PC via a USB-C cable. I just disconnected it so I can twist it and turn it and show you things from different angles. On the bottom, we've got a 16,000 dpi optical sensor. Right here, we have got a thumbstick assembly, analog thumbstick, that's also press to click. It comes out of the box with a number of different caps of different shapes and sizes, concave, convex. There's a couple of different stems, so you can adjust the stem length. You can flip that cap off, and in the center of the stick, there's a little screw you can tighten or loosen to make the stick more or less resistant. There's more, you can have more spring to it and more pushback or less. Right off from the stick, we've got a little four-way hat, which is also press to click. Got the palm and hand rest with a strap so that you can move the thing backwards and forwards and to and fro without needing to grip the controller to hold on to it while you move it. Here on the this inside curve here, right behind the four-way hat, you've got a mouse scroll wheel, which is not point to click, but you don't really need it because you've got 16 other buttons that are literally under your other four fingertips. And that's the bulk of the controls. There's also what appears to be a button here, which I'm not entirely sure what that's for, honestly. I didn't see it listed in the documentation. I didn't see it being configurable in the software. I don't know if it's a profile switcher or what exactly, but there is a bit of a spring-loaded button behind those lights. Hello, Jeannie. That's my assistant, Jeannie. She gets jealous when I'm talking to anyone but her. Go away, Jeannie. I'm busy. Azeron on the website gives you the options to have, you can order these left-handed, right-handed. There's one or two different stick options. There's the HAL Elite. A couple things like that. You can, at the order screen, you can order this specialized to some extent. You can get it for medium hands or small hands. They didn't have an option for gargantuan Sasquatch paws, which is what I have. So I ordered the medium one, and it turns out there's 3 points of adjustment that I was able to use to make this fit my hand, even though it's technically, according to Azeron, for medium hands. The entire thumbstick assembly is attached to the main chassis with a sort of ball and socket joint similar to a human shoulder socket. You can see it right there. You loosen those two bolts to give you a bit of play, and then you can crank this back and forth and in and out to get the thumbstick position so that it rests naturally under the ball of your thumb. You don't have to have your thumb cranked in a weird angle that'll cause fatigue and ache over long sessions. You can also rotate this clockwise and counterclockwise to some extent as far as the cable will allow you to do it. And that allows you to orient this and do a sort of physical calibration wherever you have it positioned, so that what naturally feels like left, right, up, and down to you translates to left, right, up, and down in the game. The other 2 points of adjustment are on the underside. You can loosen those two slide bolts there and slide the entire button assembly in and out to get it closer or further away from your fingers. And there's a similar slide bolt on the base here that you can loosen up and to some extent change the angle of the palm and hand rest. I've got a very large hand, and I was able to adjust this so that it fits me very comfortably. I think the longest I used it without a significant break was about 5 hours, And in those 5 hours, I had no discomfort, no fatigue. I had no physical problems of any kind using this, despite the fact I've got larger than usual hands. So, physically, it's put together pretty well as far as the design anyway. Um, they've also put a lot of, when I first saw these buttons, they drove me nuts. It totally gave me like twitchy eye and tweak, like a 5 o'clock fire, 5 alarm fire in my OCD brain because the buttons aren't lined up and because they're not flush. But it turns out that that's on purpose. Azeron's smarter than I am in this case. And they have this design in such a way that these buttons line up perfectly with the natural extension of your fingers. You don't have to reach for buttons. You don't have to kick your fingers back and have tension on them to press the buttons. Just by naturally extending your fingers, just like you're just stretching them out from your hand, just like that, it automatically puts these buttons right under your fingertips. So from an engineering design perspective, they've really done a great job with designing this, and I'm very impressed how they've done this. I can see this device being very useful, for a person that for whatever reason doesn't have use of both their hands, whether it's the left or right hand. You could use this to game one-handed. So also the software that comes with it, which isn't really the subject of this video, it's highly configurable. You can configure the buttons to be single press, long press, double press. You can configure them to do mouse buttons, Windows functions. Same thing with the thumbstick and the hat. You can configure these to work like game pads, joysticks. You can put multiple profiles on the thumbstick at once. So for instance, you could have it set up to work as an analog thumbstick, and you press a button on the controller and then it works like a 4-way hat. You can change that dynamically on the fly without changing the rest of the profile of the controller. I forget how many profiles you can have on this at once, but I configured 4, and switching between them worked fine. I can see you using this for more than gaming. I can see it being handy for text editing, maybe even photo or graphics editing to some extent. All in all, it's a really handy, very well thought out, well designed device. That being said, I am sending mine back. And just in a nutshell, it's just basically because I don't think, while the design is very good, it's very well designed, I don't think the build quality is commensurate with the price. Counting shipping and handling and taxes, I paid $314 for this. And this is just personal preference. This is just my subjective opinion on the matter. I don't think it's built with enough resilience. It's not sturdy enough. And I don't think, just from a tactile standpoint, just from a sensory standpoint, I don't think it feels good enough to warrant $320. I don't know what price point it should be. Again, that's highly subjective. I won't even try to make any conjecture on that. But for me, I need a game controller to suit me well enough that I'm going to use it enough to get my return of investment from it. So if I spend $50 for something, I need to enjoy using it enough to get $50 worth out of it. And I don't like this enough. Personally, just my own personal preference, I don't like it enough to use it enough to get $320 out of it. And that's assuming I don't break it. I have very strong concerns about this hat. I can see me flipping that hat off like a match head, or breaking the entire assembly off and just dangling by a wire like an eyeball outside of somebody's skull. So I'm going to test a return policy. Azeron says they have got a very lenient, very forgiving return refund policy. I'm going to put that to the test. I don't expect having problems out of it. If it turns out that it's not as cool as they say, or they're not as forgiving and forthcoming as they say, I'll be sure to let you know in a follow-up video. But all that being said, it does work. It does what it claims to do. You can get it right-handed, left-handed. I can see it being extremely useful for a person who has some sort of challenges with one of their hands. I can see it being useful for more than gaming. The software is top-notch. The actual design and how this thing is literally built to just completely seamlessly mesh with the human hand and the human fingers, to where it just becomes an extension of your arm. So the design, I have nothing but nice things to say about the design. I just wish it was constructed a little bit better. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope I've answered your questions that you may have had. I hope I've said something that helps inform your decision whether or not to try this or not. If you have any questions or comments, if you've used one of these, if you have anything at all, just please drop me a comment under the video and let me know. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you have a question that I didn't answer in this, again, post it and I'll answer it as quickly as I can. I plan to send this back this week or next, but I will answer as quickly as I can, preferably before I send it back. So if I have to play with it to figure out the answer, I'll still have it. Thanks for your time, and thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.